Hey everyone, how you doing? It's week 2 in the NFL. I'm Wade McElwain from NFL in London and DraftKings. Joining me, David Whitney, Ryan Cull, and Will Gavin. Guys, we were talking daily fantasy. Obviously, with DraftKings, you've got 9 players, $50,000 budget on which to spend. Who do you spend it? Who are your value picks? Who are you looking for? I'm going to go through all these guys. We're going to talk about who you've got and why you've got them. And let's start with quarterback. Let's go with David Whitney. David, who you got in quarterback this week?
Well, as a homie, I've gone for Eli Manning, but it mainly is, I mean, he does have amazing weapons around him, and he's got a great deep ball. He's going to get you huge points. But I think my main sort of takeaway about picking your quarterback is that's probably not where you should spend your money, because there are so many good quarterbacks. Spend your money elsewhere, unless you're going for the God himself, Mr. Manning. Then it's probably they go all the way down to one team above the Bills are good, and yeah, spend your money elsewhere, I'd say.
All right, speaking of spending the money, you just took a shot of the Bills, so let's go to Ryan.
Finally.
You chose Tyrod Taylor last week.
I did. That was a very upsetting. I'm going a little bit safer this week. Actually, I'll go with Derek Carr this week. I think Derek Carr showed a lot last week. He was amazing. He just stepped up. We did that dive over to get that first down. He is a baller. Like, he just goes out and he just slings it. He's got Amari Cooper. He's got the weapons. He's playing Atlanta. You know, I think this is going to be.
Like your older brother has been feeding you Raiders.
You know what? He has been, and I've been watching Derek Carr because my brother is such a fan of the Raiders. So I've been watching him for a long time. The guy can just play. Like, he just goes. He's just that quarterback you wish you had on your team. And you're going up against Atlanta. That defense is soft. I think Oakland's at home, and I think they're going to step up. They're going to have a great game. I love Derek Carr this week.
And he's not too expensive, is he?
No, it wasn't too bad. He was $7,200. So
not bad. How about Will? Who you got?
Now, unfortunately, I took Eli Manning as well, so I don't want to repeat the same points. You know, going against that defense and with those offensive weapons, he'll score points. I very nearly went for $200 left Matthew Stafford, who was brilliant for me last week. This week he goes up against the Titans, much better defensive front, but still a dross secondary, and he should have the chance to put up some points. So I'll just tip him as well, although it's Eli in my team.
Who do you think is going to score more points out of those two quarterbacks?
Well, Eli, that's why he's in my team.
Out of Detroit and Tennessee.
Out of Detroit, who's going to score more points in that game?
No, the quarterbacks. If you had to have Stafford or Mariota.
I think both of them could put up 30-point weeks this week quite easily. I take Stafford, I guess, because I've mentioned him, but...
Well, I took the guy who's playing, always my logic is, take the guy who's playing Cleveland, and so I took Joe Flacco, 6,500. Instead, Kirk Cousins does, you like that? I think Flacco should be, you want the D? Because he's going to give it to the D. He's going to tear through him like cheap toilet paper. He had 1 touchdown, 258 yards, but a 99.9 rating against the Bills D last week. Against Cleveland, he is, for 6,500, he just seems to me just an incredible value. He's Flacco. He's won a Super Bowl before. He's got some options on him, and I really like him. I think Flacco to win on this one.
I don't know if you can rely on Mike Wallace to have a 70-yard touchdown every week, but other than that, it's fair logic.
Yeah, well, he's got some other tools as well. Now, of course, the other tools you're going to have are running backs, 2 running backs in DraftKings when you're drafting. Start with Ryan. Who are your 2 running backs this week?
My 2 running backs are Ezekiel Elliott and Danny Woodhead. I think Danny Woodhead's going to be a great addition. Now that Keenan Allen's gone, he's gone for the year. Danny Woodhead he was unbelievable. He just catches the balls until he gets injured. But he's their goal line back. Like, he takes the 1-yard plunges. He's dynamic. He's probably going to lead the NFL in receiving by a running back, without a doubt. Now that Keenan Allen's gone, he just gets the ball. And if you're doing any other league, and I think at 5,200, he's an absolute bargain. Ezekiel Elliott is playing Washington. You saw what D'Angelo Williams did to Washington. Ezekiel Elliott's now behind that offensive line. Dak Prescott's still not slinging it like he would. And I think this is where Ezekiel Elliott breaks out. I think this is the game that people thought he was going to have last week.
Very nice. All right, David Whitney, you've got 2 running backs. Who did you choose? And
I went for Amar Abdullah and Lamar Miller. I nearly got their 2 names about face there.
Name Abdullah.
Yeah. My dyslexia kicking in when I need it most. I really like Abdullah. I think he's a really class act, and I think he's going to put up a lot of yards throughout the year. And I like Miller for the Houston Texans.
He's getting the ball. He gets the ball.
Yeah,
rare for him.
Yeah.
Like throughout his career, he's always looked impressive, never been given the ball enough.
And they are going to
Or if he does, he messes it up
Against
and drops
that
it.
Chiefs defense?
Well, the Chiefs' defense didn't look as good as it used to be. You know,
Yeah.
that'll be an interesting call. Let's. How about you, Will? What have you got? For your two?
I've gone cheap on my running backs. You'll see why in a little while.
of course,
But-
yeah.
So I've got Thomas Rawls against the Rams. The Rams were terrible last week.
Yeah.
Thomas Rawls, despite splitting the carries last week, has been named the out-and-out starter this week going into the game. So I think 5,500.
Yeah.
There's a lot worse backs you could take at that sort
Especially
of price.
against LA.
And against LA, with both of these guys, I'm almost relying on a touchdown from them, but because my other guy is LeGarrette Blount against Miami, he's only 4,000. Him and James White are the same price, and I kind of flip-flop between the two because James White obviously has the pass-catching ability, but having only really thrown the ball last week, it would just be so Bill Belichick to go out there, run it down Miami's throats, look for 150 yards on the ground, and so LeGarrette Blount as a value play.
I think
Against
it's a bad
that Miami
defensive
D.
line to try and run against.
Yeah, that's
There's no denying that, but if you bounce the outside, there's nothing else
if you
there.
bounce the outside, it's just getting past Sue and Ware and Mario Williams.
That's all on the inside. That's fine. They'll be
But
fine.
apart from them,
All right, for my running backs, I have gone cheap and consistent. First guy, Justin Forsett from Baltimore. Why? He's playing Cleveland. 4,400. He had 10 attempts for 41 yards last week. And that was against the Buffalo Bills front D. I think all this whole him getting dropped and then picked up again, all this malarkey's behind him. He'll do well. He's going to be one of the leading running backs, I think, going into the season, especially at 4,400. And my next guy, Spencer Ware. We don't know what's going to happen yet with Jamal Charles, how he's going to be, what's going to happen. But still, even as a backup, 6.4 yards at 6,100. I still like Spencer Ware, even against this Houston defense, because Houston showed, even Chicago, Langford got through. They're not the same defense they used to have. So I actually like Spencer Ware in this regard. All right, wide receivers.
before we go on to wide receivers, your theory about always picking against Cleveland, I like it. It makes a lot of sense. But Cleveland have got young talent that's going to develop, and they're going to bond together, and they're going to grow. Whereas
By week 14,
So just
So
stop.
it's like beating up children.
actually,
Next year, don't do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Same theory, but just always pick against the Rams. Because although they have talent, they are going to get more and more infighting. They're going to get more disillusioned, and they have no leaders either on the pitch or off the pitch. So I think if you're going to pick a franchise to just always pick against, it's the Rams, because they are an absolute tire fire.
We'll see in terms of their front as well. But let's go to your wide receivers then, David. Who you got for your wide receivers?
Well,
You got 3 of them.
In order that I get some emotional relief in the New York game, should the Saints put it up on us, I've gone from Will Steed and Cooks, just so that I get
Stacking
it.
receivers.
Backing it up, splitting your points.
I think Breeze is on fire. I mean, I slightly think he's moonwalking towards a cliff. But while he's moonwalking, it's amazing to watch him. But, you know, it's not going to last forever. But I think this season he is going to put some points up. And I think this the New York Giants game will be won. And who was my other wide receiver? Fuller, the rookie for the Houston Texans. What a find! Amazing. He was electrifying against your Bears.
DeAndre Hopkins takes up all the worries.
All
and
the
double
cover, yeah, of
coverages.
course.
Well,
Bears are
Fuller's
focusing on
just
that.
a speeder. They're just going to go down to him. But he's going to be one of those guys who's make or break. He's either going to hit the deep ball or he's going to kill you some days. So he's one of those. But right now, why not?
He's so cheap as well.
He's pretty cheap. So, yeah. Okay, Ryan, let's go into your 3 wide
Well,
receivers. You
okay,
got.
I had one similar. I had Snead. Basically, I'm going with anyone who's playing New Orleans. I've gone with 2 in that game. I've gone with Sterling Shepard and Snead.
Okay,
because
so you're
I think
counts it, okay.
because it was 51-48 the last time these 2 teams met, it's going to be a shootout again. Someone's getting the ball.
Giants' defense is a lot better.
Yeah,
they
well,
are.
we'll see. We'll see.
They spent
But
a
he's
lot of
still
money.
going
I
against-
don't know if that means they're
He's
better.
still going against Drew Brees. He's going to throw for at least 300, guaranteed almost every single
I think
game.
my pick
It's almost
suggests
500
I
yards
slightly
last week.
Exactly. So I'll go with anyone in that game. I think Sterling Shepard's going to have a better game than he had last week. And then the other one I took was Deshaun Jackson because he looked really good last week. I thought against Pittsburgh, and I think up against Dallas in Washington. There's going to be tossing it to him all day because he's their best receiver. He's healthy, which he wasn't last year at all. And I think a lot of people forget about that. He missed the first 8 games with a hamstring injury. So Deshaun Jackson looks the best he's looked in a couple of years. I think he's going to be great against Dallas. So he's a good deal too.
All right, Will Gavin, let's go with your 3 wide receivers for this week.
I am absolutely making it rain at receiver.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
I
it.
have
Here we
taken
go.
2 of the top 4 most expensive receivers, and I don't care. Odell Beckham against that New Orleans secondary.
Yeah.
And AJ Green against that terrible Pittsburgh secondary.
Yeah.
I think between them could end up with 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, you're talking lots of...
And then as my third choice, because I then needed to save some money, Chris Hogan.
Okay.
I've taken Chris Hogan in a lot of season long as a flyer. He was great last week.
Sure.
Still no guarantee of Gronk coming back, and even if he does, he's going to be limited. And when we've seen him come back limited in the past, he'll have 1 or 2 catches, but not be targeted often. Chris Hogan out of the slot. Yes, the Miami front's good, but I don't like their secondary. I don't like their linebackers. So as a 3,
Sure.
I'm really pleased with that.
That's good. He could be a good value right there. He's like 4,100.
Less than that, 30,
Yeah. Okay, nice.
below 4,000, yeah.
Oh, great. All right, for my 3, I've gone for one guy who did really well last week. The only thing he didn't catch was Zika. That's Brandon Cooks, 8,000. 6 receptions, 143 yards, including that big 98-yarder, and 2 touchdowns. Going against New York Giants, which, they're dynamic up front. I don't know about the secondary. We've discussed that. My second guy, I've got Tyler Lockett, wide receiver for Seattle, going against L.A. He's only 4,600. This guy, again, they're going to beat San Francisco. San Francisco got, beat an LA team, but Tyler Lockett to me is one of those guys that he's going to be found, depending on Russell Wilson, if he is going to play, they're saying they're not sure, up in the air if he's going to play, but I still like Lockett. He's one of those guys who can go deep, and LA cannot stop that. And my third guy, the number 1 receiver for Tennessee, Tajay Sharp. Mariota is pretty good passing last week. He's only 4,100. This guy came across as the number 1 wide receiver. And when you're the number 1 wide receiver for a team like this at only 4,100, it just makes it a really good value. So he is my third guy. Now I'm going to ask these guys tight ends. We'll start with Will. Who's your tight end for this week?
I've gone Delaney Walker because his price dropped after he had a really poor first week. But this week, he's going up against a Lions D who cannot defend against the tight end. And I think Marcus Mariota, their strength is in Ziggy Ansah. It's in their pass rush. Marcus Mariota is a guy who's going to get out of the pocket. Delaney Walker is one of the most intelligent route runners from tight end in the entire of the NFL. If you can extend that play over 2-3 seconds, Delaney Walker will get open. I think he has a big week this week. And he was cheap as well.
Good week as well. Ryan, your tight
I'm
end?
sticking with that Giants-New Orleans game. I'm going Kobe Fleener. I think you just go...
Donnell.
Yeah, but
I'm just going to stick with that game because that game will be points galore.
when he covers his gloves in butter before every game,
Yeah, you know
that's
what?
his problem.
He's had a tough game. And the one problem is they're gonna get in the red zone, so it's not always gonna be 98-yard passes. It's not always gonna be bombs. And when they get there, you need that big guy. He's the guy. I trust Drew Brees. He's thrown 3 touchdowns. It could go to him.
I don't trust Kobe Fleener.
No, I don't trust him. But against the Giants, I'll go for it.
David, who do you got for your...
At Jacksonville Jaguars, Thomas. I know he's not the man he used to be.
Yeah.
The Jaguars have got a very exciting offense. I think the short ball in the sort of the West Coast offense that they play, it's going to be quick ball, sort of 8 to 12-yard passes, and I think Thomas is going to get a couple of touchdowns.
I think it's a really good shout this week as well because the Chargers have got Jason Verrett, one of the best corners in the league. He's going to be man-on-man with Robinson. If balls has got to go away from Robinson, Julius Thomas is a great safety.
It's a smart call. He's a veteran. He'll be getting in the end. Get in the end and get the ball, I think. I've gone for the New York...
Getting in his end?
Yeah, getting in his end. That's right. Read it how you do. My choice is actually the opposite of Ryan's. I went for Will Tye for New York this week. 2,900. They've got a lot of deep ball potential with Shepard and with Odell, but at the same time, as you get in the red zone, he's going to be one of those guys I think you throw it to. Will Tye for 2,900. Very cheap, because I had to save for other positions. We're talking flex position now. Will, who's your flex position?
I've gone with Tajay Sharp, a man you've already talked about in some detail, 4,100. He's established himself as the number 1. He's going to get more and more expensive as this season goes on. And as already talked about, do not trust that Lions defense.
No, exactly. Ryan?
I went with Eddie Lacy. I think Eddie Lacy's going to have a better game this week. I think Minnesota's going to be so worried about Rodgers that people are going to forget about Eddie Lacy. He's going to have that big game where he eventually always does. It's going to be a close game, and these are the games, especially Minnesota, Green Bay. They're always in the trenches. It's a tougher, not a slingy. It's not going to be a high-scoring game, but it's going to be one where that's one on the running backs between Adrian Peterson and Eddie Lacy. And Eddie Lacy is going to get in the end zone this week, definitely.
Do you not think that Minnesota are as good as they looked last week? Because they
No, but I think
a bit of a card trick.
I think their defense got 2 touchdowns. They made it look bigger than they were. I don't think they were as impressive
that's
as people
because
said.
the defense
but
were
you're going to
good.
see Sam Bradford this week, I think. I don't think you're going to see Sean Hill. So you're going to see Bradford, and Adrian Peterson's going to have a better game because Bradford's in.
What quarter
David?
do you think the Bradford will get injured in?
No, he's saying, listen, he played all 16 last year. And you know what? Like, I think it's unfair. Like, if you've played another season, then you've been healthy. So let's not dump on him until he gets hurt again. Then we can jump on him.
David, who's your tight end this week?
Detroit Lions.
Flex, sorry, it's our flex. Yeah, Riddick. Yeah, Theo Riddick. Oh, you chose both Detroit Lions running back. You got Riddick and Abdullah.
Yeah.
They had a great 1-2 punch last
There you
week.
do.
I am now questioning my late night choices. Yes. I think I was doing some maths to get.
No, it's a good pick. Actually, I like Theo Riddick.
I Theo Riddick.
It could be boom or bust.
He got 22 points last week.
Theo Riddick was
You could
in and out
either
of
be
my
getting
lineup a
40
couple of
points or you
times.
could be sharing 10.
Yeah. He was in and out of my lineup quite a bit this week, but the
He's
Titans,
in my lineup
Jarrell
this week.
Freeman, one of the best up against the run in the league. That would be
My flex position, sometimes I like to save my money, my flex position, spend my defense and use my flex last. My flex position, one that you guys chose, Odell Beckham Jr. He's going to rip apart New Orleans. Like, he's going to go deep. They're going to try to double coverage. They might throw it to Sterling Shepard, but I really just see this as a real muscling here. All right, let's go to the defense last thing. Throw me the D. Dave, who's your D here?
Pick against LA.
Go against. You're doing the Cleveland idea, except on
Denver are going to shut LA down. I would
Denver's
not.
playing
No,
Indianapolis.
Yeah, wrong game.
Seahawks are playing LA.
Seahawks, well, just as good.
Yeah.
Seahawks are going to shut
My
them
theory holds.
Late night.
Yeah, Seattle's going to absolutely destroy them.
But you know what? Todd Gurley ripped them apart last year. Weirdly, like, Gurley had a huge game against Seattle. I'm not predicting it.
No.
I'm just saying.
They can't get worse.
happen.
They can't be
Isn't it really
worse.
song?
happen,
Who's
yeah.
your defense then, Will?
I've gone cheap on the defense. I've taken the Jags. They're traveling to San Diego without Keenan Allen.
Sure.
I do like the Danny Woodhead pick earlier, but
They
I
played
just think
Green Bay really tight, you know? They
Yeah.
were able to score back and forth. Well, they got scored, but it's Aaron Rodgers, you know?
exciting, young, talented, going up against a team who are in flux thanks to that big injury. Just think it might be a one-off week where the Jags could have a really good one.
All right, Ryan, defense?
I went with the Patriots. I think they're going to keep it. They always keep it low against New England. It's going to be, if it is going to be low scoring, they're not going to put up. I don't trust Tannehill putting up 30 on New England. New England's going to force some turnovers, and it's in New England, so that the crowd, they're almost unbeatable there. So I think definitely New England's a great pick. I think.
My pick as well, I think it's the same as Dave, perhaps. I've chosen the Seahawks because they're going against LA. And I really don't feel really good for the LA team this week because that Seahawks defense, they played well enough against Miami last week, but this week they're going to be on fire. Let's take a look at everyone's. Let's start with Dave's lineup first. We'll go through Dave, see who he chose on his lineup. Manning, Abdullah, Miller, Fuller, Snead, Cooks, Thomas, Riddick, and the Broncos D. You chose the Broncos D at 3,600.
My theory kind of does hold against the idea of against the Colts because they're margin.
They didn't put up 35
Well,
points last week or anything.
We'll see what happens. All right, let's go to Ryan's. Let's take a look at Ryan's here. Ryan has got Carr, Elliott, Woodhead, Jackson, Snead, Shepard, Fleener, Lacey, and the Pats. And then going to Will next. Will's lineup, Manning, Blount, Rawls, Beckham Jr., A.J. Green, Hogan, Walker, Sharp, and the Jags. And the winning lineup, mine, Flacco, Forsett, Ware, Cooks, Lockett, Sharp, Ty, Beckham Jr., and the Seahawks. How do you get involved? You can play on DraftKings. Go to DraftKings.co.uk. Want to play against us in the Hippodrome contest weekend? That's right, DraftKings.co.uk/Hippo. If you win, first prize, you've got to be in the UK to win it. First prize are 2 tickets to the Indianapolis Colts versus Jacksonville Jaguars at Wembley. Second prize is a bar tab. Get involved. Come visit Ryan and I every week at the Hippodrome Casino in Leicester Square. Hopefully Dave will be there too. Hopefully we'll see you there as well, Will. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Welcome to the big time.